Hey, this is Nicky G and welcome to Better Commander. What a year it's been. I'm filled with tremendous gratitude for all the people who subscribed to my channel and all the beautiful folks who checked out my videos this year. Despite Wizards of the Coast doing a speed run to self-destruction, I can sympathize. There have been some commanders that really captured my interest and played in the design spaces that I found really fascinating. Now remember, Better Commander fans, Better Commander stans, better bros and brothers, that each individual human being has its own unique perspective. I sometimes read the comments and get really mystified. It's like people forget that there are other people in the world that don't know all the things that they know. We're not inside your brain, okay? This is particularly true for me. I'm pretty plugged into all the sets and releases that happen all year round, and I make stupid videos about them. So for me, whenever I make these videos, I try to put myself in the shoes of a casual player, someone who isn't as entrenched and franchised as I am. I also try to make budget-friendly decisions, and most of the following commanders have budget deck techs on my channel. Check it out. There are lists for each of these and 100 more on my Moxfield page, so make sure you check that out as well. Alright, let's talk about the commanders from 2022 that caught my attention, and I'm not going to prevaricate on this. It was a great year for build around legendary creatures to construct our decks for. Let's get into it, but first, take a moment to push in that like button, give a playful slap to the subscribe button, and do like my high school teachers used to do and tell me how disappointed you are in the comments. Kamigawa Neon Dynasty, this was an awesome set. You got cyber ninjas, you got tanukis, you got motorcycles, you got all kinds of crazy stuff. You got lizard blades. This is the most anime thing ever. Ishin, Two Heavens is One. My buddy JP built this deck. Red, white, and black for a legendary creature. Human Samurai, it's a 3/4. If a creature attacking causes a triggered ability of a permanent you control to trigger, that ability triggers an additional time. Trained by the Imperialists, but disillusioned by their rigidity. Ooh, that's weird. He gave his heart and his swords to the Asari Uprising. This deck is filled with attack triggers that can be super nasty. There are tons of drain effects like Brutal Horde Chief, Parasitic Impetus, Campaign of Vengeance. Double these up and you're in business. You can get new defensive enchantments as well. Ishin doesn't specify creatures you control attacking, so Emberwild Captain is particularly egregious. Despite the obvious power of this guy, you can build it relatively cheaply and the commander himself is like 50 cents. I love the art on this thing. Look at this hoof beast. I don't even know where his face is, dude. It doesn't even need a face. Hinata Dawn Crowned. 1 blue, red, and a white for a legendary creature. Kirin Spirit is a 4/4. With flying and trample, you got them flamp stamps, baby. Spells you cast cost 1 less to cast for each target. Spells your opponents cast cost 1 more to cast for each target. The most fun part about building this commander is finding cards like Roiling Waters, 5 blue for a sorcery, return up to 2 target creatures your opponents control to their owner's hands. Target player draws 2 cards, so you got 3 targets right there. Wow, this card sucks for 7 mana, but it's kind of a house for 4 mana. Same for Magma Opus, Sublime Epiphany. These cards are big, splashy, they cost a lot. Cheating these feels really good. And you throw in X-cost spells like Bifrost, Heliod's Intervention. These are both amazing cards. 2 white mana to remove as many target artifacts and or enchantments as you like. Hinata is very powerful and one of my favorites all year for sure. And you got Lightpaw's Emperor's Voice, dude. It's just a little fox advisor out here. It's 1 and a white for a legendary creature. It's a 2/2. Whenever an aura enters the battlefield under your control, if you cast it, you may search your library for an aura card with mana value less than or equal to that aura with a different name than each aura you control, and put that card onto the battlefield attached to Lightpaw's Emperor's Voice, then shuffle. Lightpaw's caught my eye because it could be built pretty cheaply and is a real difficult threat to remove. You're tutoring out all the best stuff, even when it's so limited. Really makes things difficult for your opponents. You can put protection on there, you can get indestructible on there, you get so much stuff. I enjoyed the deck I built with this commander, but it ended up being really linear, but still super powerful. Alright, next up we have Streets of New Capenna. So it's had this weird art deco, it had gangster roaring 20s theme to it, a bunch of cat demons in suits, you had rhino men wearing 3-piece pinstripes and all kinds of weirdness. Fun set for commanders though, and there's quite a few bangers. Opinions are all over the place on this set, but I liked all the demons and all the cool stuff in there. Alright, first up out of this set we got Rigo, Streetwise Mentor. It's a hybrid Selesnya, a white, and a hybrid Azorius. Alright, legendary creature Cat Citizen, it's a 2/2. Rigo, Streetwise Mentor, enters the battlefield with a shield counter on it. Whenever you attack a player or a planeswalker with 1 or more creatures with power 1 or less, draw a card. This guy's just a cat citizen, dude. He's a cat, but he's also a man, just like Melania Trump. So the idea with this deck is to build a board state of tiny creatures and then bang in with cards like Invisible Stalker and Looteril Core for value. This appeals to me. But this guy's hardcore in need of win conditions. You got to go with some Bant combo or something like that because he ain't winning with damage unless you have massive pump out there. Very cool card, goes great in a Chu Lane deck or acts as a power down Chu Lane if you don't want to build a commander that's for complete tools, like Chu Lane. This lady's the dang most attractive fish I've ever seen on a Magic card. Quiza, Augur of Agony's got me feeling some type of way. 1, a white, blue, and a black for a legendary creature, Cephalid Advisor, 3/4. Whenever you draw a card, target opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. The showcase version is a little nicer looking, but she's holding 2 orbs in either version, so she gets my vote to replace Joe Biden's Secretary of Nuclear Waste Disposal or whoever the heck that guy was. Who doesn't like drawing cards? This thing opens up a very powerful black, white, blue wheel deck. Cards like Emergency Powers fold your graveyard back into your library so you don't have to worry about drawing yourself out. This makes Necrologia good, but watch out because if Quiza is removed in response to that, when you have it on the stack, you're just gonna die basically. Really fun build around. You got my old buddy Tibbet over there. Seller of Secrets, 3 white, blue, and a black for legendary creature, Sphinx Rogue. It's a 6/6 with flying and ward 3. Council's Dilemma. Whenever it enters the battlefield or deals combat damage to a player starting with you, each player votes for evidence or bribery. For each evidence vote, investigate. For each bribery vote, create a treasure token. While voting, you may vote an additional time. I love the art on this thing. This guy is also a cat, but in reverse of Catman like Rigo, but he has wings. So he's got the face of a man. He's also got that sweet mustache, dude. I wish I could grow one like that. That's how you make a Sphinx, dude. You reverse a Catman and plop wings onto it, okay? Okay, so each turn you're ramping 2 treasures and putting out 3 clues, basically, because your friends aren't going to give you treasures. This is immediately powerful. The extra vote cards like Ballot Broker, Brago's Representative make you an extra treasure and can swing votes your way, because you're also running Illusion of Choice and Split Decision. Such a fun minigame. I did a $70 deck with a Blink sub-theme and it held its own with more powerful decks all year. Alright, moving on to one of my favorite sets of the year, probably my favorite set of the year, Commander Legends Battle for Baldur's Gate. This set is a bit controversial. Everybody wanted Dockside in it, but there was no Dockside in it, so therefore it's trash. But I built paper decks from commanders in this set. I built Arenicus File Duplication is in like 5 of my decks, my favorite card of the year. It's amazing. If you don't run it, you're missing out. Anyways, let's talk about some of those commanders, brother. No matter how I pronounce this, someone's going to get in the comments and say, oh, you pronounced this wrong, dude. You got Miriam, Sentinel Worm, 3 green, blue, and a red for a legendary creature, Dragon Spirit. It's a 6/6 with flying and ward 2. Whenever another non-token dragon enters the battlefield under your control, create a token that's a copy of it, except the token isn't legendary. It's so cheap. This thing's only like 50 cents. It's a house. This thing, even if you make it super budget, is super powerful. It's an ETB effect, so you can blink, recur, cast your dragons, you can make copies. You don't have to put any mana into it. It just happens. This card's the best. And you got old Captain Crunch here. Captain, I don't know how to say it. Enguthrode, I guess. 3 blue and a black for a legendary creature, Horror Pirate. It's a 3/6. Horrors you control have menace. Whenever a horror you control deals combat damage to a player, that player mills that many cards. At the beginning of your end step, choose target artifact or creature card in an opponent's graveyard that was put there from their library this turn. Put that card onto the battlefield under your control. There are only 12 or so legendary captains in Magic the Gathering, and this guy is objectively the best one. I love the flavor. He was on the set of Pirates of the Caribbean, right? Stole Johnny Depp's cocaine, had to stab him. They had to let him go. This deck is really fun, slow, has more control elements than you would think, plays better than it looks, and likes more smaller mill spells like Mind Grind, things like that. Mid-power theft and fun, I love this card. Creatures like Toxrill and Umbrus exploded in price because of this guy. It's a fun balancing act between combat and small instances of mill. Great deck. This next commander, this guy could be on the album cover of some awesome Swedish metal album or something. It's Mirkul, Lord of Bones. 4 white, black, and green for a legendary creature. It's a god. It's a 7/5. As long as your life total is less than or equal to half your starting life total, Mirkul, Lord of Bones has Indestructible. Whenever another non-token creature you control dies, you may exile it. If you do, create a token that's a copy of that card, except it's an enchantment and loses all other card types. Such an underrated commander, dude. Yes, I know, he costs so much mana, but the fact that you can reuse all your Zulaport Cutthroats effects and all your mana dorks after you sacrifice them for value is so good. You can drain everyone's hand with Cinderhaze Wretch, and it's an enchantment, or you can make infinite mana with Devoted Druid when it's an enchantment. When Mirkul comes out, you have to be in a position to win. I played a couple games with a budget deck from this guy, and it was just so much fun. He's just taking a nap in some dirt, dude. Elminster, this is what I'm going to look like in about 3 months. 3 blue and a white for a legendary planeswalker. It starts with loyalty 5. Whenever you scry, the next instant or sorcery spell you cast this turn costs X less to cast, where X is the number of cards looked at while scrying this way. You have +2, draw a card, then scry 2, -3, exile the top card of your library, create a number of 1/1 blue fairy dragon creature tokens with flying equal to that card's mana value. Elminster can be your commander. Look at this beautiful man. He's got his stick, he's got his sword, dude. He's a battle mage, not some cheap conjurer of tricks. He's not here to rob you. He's here to help you. I did a deck tech on this alpha hunk as well, and it was surprisingly competent, if even unoptimized. Scrying, casting huge spells, making huge amounts of dragon fairies is so fun. Scry with Cryptic Annelid and Netherese Puzzle Ward, then exile big spells like Storm Herd or Vanquish the Horde to make lots of little guys. Really cool, interesting deck. Oh man, then you got John Arenicus Shattered One. 2 blue and a black for a legendary creature elf wizard. It's a 3/3. At the beginning of your end step, target opponent gains control of up to 1 target creature you control. Put 2 +1/+1 counters on it and tap it. It's goaded for the rest of the game and it gains this creature can't be sacrificed. Whenever a creature you own but don't control attacks, you draw a card. Okay, the thesis behind this deck is to cast a whole bunch of creatures that you can give out to your opponents. You're just giving them little pieces of candy, right? You got cards like Flesh Reaver. Look at that beautiful monster. You got cards like Desecration Elemental. So your opponents are fighting, you're drawing cards, then you're drawing into control elements and bounce effects. Get everybody's life total really low and win with infinite deceit, dude. There's no other commander like this. He's just an elf in some really weird Saturday night outfit and he's just sucking the soul out of Vin Diesel over there, dude. Alundo the Seer, or as known around here, Big Papa Pump. 2 green and a blue for a legendary creature, Human Shaman. It's a 3/4. Tap, draw a card, then exile a card from your hand and put a number of time counters on it equal to its mana value. It gains when the last time counter is removed from this card. If it's exiled, you may cast it without paying its mana cost. If you cast a creature spell this way, it gains haste until end of turn, then remove a time counter from each other card you own in exile. Look at this guy. He never skips lunch, dude. He probably has calf muscles like melons, dude. This is such a fun deck. Suspend cards like Inevitable Betrayal or Super. You have to cast them for their suspend cost first, okay? You can't do anything with them with the first part of the ability, but when you're removing time counters, it counts for those stupid things. Anyways, untap this guy 1,000,000 times, and it's pretty easy to go infinite. My friends really love watching me take 20 minutes turns, and then realize I could draw and play my entire deck, which included Thassa's Oracle. I'm like, oh hey, I got an infinite combo. Very cheeky commander, but it's super fiddly to keep track all the time counters on cards in exile. Super fun. Alright, now we pop into my other favorite set of the year, Dominaria United. This set had some fantastic reimaginings of old heroes of the realm and some great build around commanders. Ivy Gleeful Spell Thief. Green and blue for a legendary creature, Fairy Rogue. It's a 2/1 with flying. Whenever a player casts a spell that targets only a single creature other than Ivy Gleeful Spell Thief, you may copy that spell. The copy targets Ivy. Very fun deck to pilot. You're copying auras, you're making 2 creatures huge and swinging in. Cards like Cold-Eyed Selkie and Slippery Bogle make the game interesting. It's just a slippery bogle. You have enchantment payoffs, mutate shenanigans in that deck. Really fun to build. You can build it super cheap. I did a budget deck and guess what, buddy? It rips. Oh man, then we got Maria, Scholar of Antiquity. 1 red and a green for a legendary creature, Elf Artificer. It's a 3/3. Tap an untapped non-token artifact you control, add green. Tap 2 untapped non-token artifacts you control, exile the top card of your library. You may play it this turn. I did a $30 ultra budget deck around the super powerful commander. Equipment can tap with impunity, and you can ramp into bigger spells and multiple spells super easily. You suit up cards like Spinebiter and Traxos to deal big damage. Very fun deck. Ramses Assassin Lord, fun build around card, 2 blue and a black for a legendary creature, Human Assassin. It's a 4/4 with Death Touch. Other assassins you control get +1/+1. Whenever a player loses the game, if they were attacked this turn by an assassin you controlled, you win the game. Why butcher an army when you can slash a single throat for the same result? I did a $50 budget deck, and I really want to just get the cards, right? Use them with no sleeves, sleeve up nothing, see if I can win a game or two. It's hyper focused on winning through commander damage and protecting Ramses. It's linear, but it's fun. It's like this guy slips in, he assassinates all your bros, and then he disappears. And the whole time you guys were buying Teslas and Bitcoins, Ramses was training. He was out there lifting weights out in the field, bouncing from stick to stick or whatever the heck they do. Yeah, the deck looks all ramshackle, it's all beat up, but you're already dead. I love this card. Bladewing Deathless Tyrant, 5 black and a red for a legendary creature Dragon Skeleton. It's a 6/6 with flying and haste. Whenever Bladewing Deathless Tyrant deals combat damage to a player or planeswalker, for each creature card in your graveyard, create a 2/2 black zombie knight creature token with menace. This guy is a really fun self-milled deck that uses dredge creatures like Stinkwing Imp to just fill up the yard. Then you swing in with your commander to make a ton of menacing zombies. Very flavorful and fun. Look at this guy just absorbing somebody else's soul. The Ever-Changing Dane is a white, blue, and a black for a legendary creature shapeshifter. It's a 3/3. Has 1, sacrifice another creature. The Ever-Changing Dane becomes a copy of the sacrificed creature, except he has this ability. He could be anyone, anywhere. It could be your mom. I love this card. The art is amazing, the flavor. So I built this guy with lots of theft effects like Empress Galena, Shield Broker to take opponents' threats and sacrifice them to make Dane a copy of them. You can also break Phyrexian Dreadnought. I mean, who would have known it? Surprise, surprise, you cast it, and in response to the ETB trigger, sacrifice it to Dane. Make him a 12/12 tramply boy to wreak havoc on everyone. I'm building this guy in paper, and it will be glorious. Imagine using Ritual of the Machine. Sacrifice an opponent's creature you just stole to get control of their next creature. It's terrible for them, it's fun for us. Alright, on to Universes Beyond Warhammer 40k. In the grim darkness of the far future, there is only corn nuts. This brought us a ton of new commanders and some mechanically interesting ones. I'll highlight 2 because I could go on for hours about the commanders from this set. Definitely my favorite release of the year. I said that the 3rd time, but here it is. There's darkness in the far future, dude. Wizards of the Coast have fallen to chaos. Anyways. Oh, there he is, man. You got Garshan Starn, Calormorph. 1 blue and a red for a legendary creature, Tyranid Human. It's a 3/2 with Ward 2. It has 3 auto stubs. Whenever another source you control deals exactly 1 damage to a permanent or player, Garshan Starn Calormorph deals 2 damage to that permanent or player. Amazing art. This guy's like Clint Eastwood out there. Kind of looks like him too. This makes crappy cards like End the Festivities really good. Plus you have combos with cards like Curiosity, Ophidian Eye, which are great with Geist and Starn, but they also combo with 2 of the Niv Mizzets. So you have this controlling, damaging deck that wins via damage and combo. It can also be built pretty cheaply. Your opponents will have a hard time keeping creatures on the field, and you end up throwing around a lot of damage. Really fun commander. Oh man, then you got Magnus the Red. 3 blue and a red for a legendary creature, Demon Primarch. It's 4/5 with flying. Has unearthly power. Instant and sorcery spells you cast cost 1 less to cast for each creature token you control. Also has Blade of Magnus. Whenever Magnus the Red deals combat damage to a player, create a 3/3 red spawn creature token. This guy in the lore, he's got godlike dark power. He's just a super big magical dude out there with his sweet wings and his beautiful hair. I'm so jealous. I'm like 5'7" with hair on my shoulders. So you make tokens, you cast big spells. Sounds like a fun deck. If you want to get really nasty, you can lean into polymorph cards with Jin-Gitaxias, Core Augur, stick that in there, or some other awful monstrous card. There are fun cards like Elminster's Simulacrum and Saheeli's Artistry that can make big creature tokens based on what your opponents are playing or whatever you have on the field. In any case, this is a very fun, interactive card that makes a superb and powerful commander. Well, I'm getting to my least favorite sets of the year. I wasn't super jazzed on the commanders from the Brothers War, but your mileage may vary. I think it's a great set, don't get me wrong. I got plenty of new cards for my decks, but the commanders didn't really grab me, except for Ashnod the Uncaring. 2 blue, black, and a red for a legendary creature, Human Artificer. It's a 1/4 with Death Touch. Whenever you activate an ability of an artifact or creature that isn't a mana ability, if 1 or more permanents were sacrificed to activate it, you may copy that ability. You may choose new targets for the copy. Classic Ashnod, dude. She's supposed to be this great beauty, but she looks like Lemongrab in this art. This ability is super powerful. Sacrificing things is great, and sacrificing for value is game-changing. There are so many. I won't list them all here. Suffice it to say, Doom Necromancer, one of my favorite dudes, gets back 2 creatures, and that's amazing. Alright, Jumpstart 2022. This one also had some awesome, amazing commanders, but this build around really stole the show for me. Anti-Blight, Bad Influence, or Auntie. 2 and a red for a legendary creature, Devil Advisor with flying. Whenever a source you control deals damage to you, put that many +1/+1 counters on Anti-Blight, Bad Influence. 1 and a red tap, remove X +1/+1 counters from Anti-Blight. It deals X damage to any target. Eating damage in this suicide style is a lot of fun. Makes games pretty short. You have cards like Earthquake, which hits all players and creatures without flying, so Anti-Blight can get big and bang in. Giving her Vigilance and Lifelink is also amazing, so cards like Batterskull allow you to bang in for damage, the big blight, and then you double dip her ability to deal even more damage. I love this card, dude. Spill the tea, brother. So hey, listen folks, it's been an amazing year. I appreciate every single one of you guys who checked out these videos, everybody who subscribed. Y'all are just awesome people. I know you're awesome people, and you're awesome because you watch this channel. These are my favorite build-arounds from 2022. Hey, Nicky G, where's Urza, dude? That's my favorite. Well, I can't read your mind. I don't know. Maybe we like different things. You might like a different thing than I do. Anyways, enjoy the life you're given. Make decks, have fun. It's been a great year with all you guys. Glad you dug my videos, and I look forward to a new year with better brotherhood. Nicky G from Better Commander, signing off.